everyone, it's Casey. So as you can see from the title of this video, I'm going to be reviewing the 3CE Take a Layer Multi-Pot for eyes, lips, and cheeks in the shade Diotima. So before I forget, if you want to just see the swatches and application, you could click right here. But otherwise, I'm going to get straight into the review for you. So as I mentioned, this is a 3CE multi-pot, so it's supposed to be a cream product meant for your eyelids, your cheeks, and your lips. And I have them on right now, and I've applied it a little bit heavily so you can see the color a lot better. So it is sort of a cream product, and I will show you the swatches in a bit, but clearer swatches in a bit. But this is what it looks like. It's a cream product. I've already used it, so it looks kind of hazy. Again, the shade is #Diotima. So first of all, why I wanted this is, as it mentions, it's a multi-pot and allegedly is supposed to be a very useful product. I could hopefully only just carry this alone. The price of this is, first of all, 699 NTD, which is new Taiwan dollars in case you're wondering. But I got it on sale for 600 NT, so it's about $20 US to $23 US. And the place I bought this from specifically was 86 Shop. I did not see on the other website I typically mention is called STYLENANDA. And then another one is, of course, the STYLENANDA website, which I will talk about in a later review of their eyeshadows and blushes that I got from STYLENANDA.com, which ships internationally to Taiwan. The shipping is free, so you can also buy it from there. But I will say 86 Shop, you get a reward system with their points, and it typically goes on sale. So regarding the shade Diotima, or I guess #Diotima, it is described on the STYLENANDA website as a soft warm beige with a drop of juicy apricot, which I tend to agree with. I do think it is a quite an accurate description of the product. So as you can see, it looks pretty similar and pretty good next to it. It is quite an apricot-y shade, so I picked this specific shade only because it is far more natural looking. The other shades that were more pink and rosy don't look really good on my skin tone. I think oranges and colors with brown tones tend to look better on me personally, so that's why I didn't pick up the other shades. I did pay for this with my own money, obviously. So let's talk about the longevity, the application, etc. Again, you can see the application in the timestamp that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. In terms of application, it is extremely easy to put on. It blends beautifully, and it is very pigmented, in fact. So I just basically just very lightly tap the product with my middle or ring finger, and I just pat it on. Very easy application. Like I said, blends out very well. I just use a patting motion. I don't really swipe. I don't really like doing that because it also tugs on the skin, and it just pulls away and smears away the product. Now, in terms of longevity, it was quite interesting when I used this. I started using this in summer. I would say around probably July or August, which is still extremely hot and humid in Taiwan. And the first time I used it, I hated it on my eyelids. I literally only rode my scooter for about 20 minutes, and it all bunched up into the crease of my eyelid. I used primer, I used powder, and for some reason it just bunched up. But the second time I used it, which was perhaps like a few weeks later on my eyelids, it's actually surprisingly stayed on pretty decently well, and the weather was similar. So my assumption is that when you first get this product, if you could see on the edges, it kind of looks more glossy. So my assumption is there's probably this sort of oily sheen on top to, one, make it look pretty, or maybe hold in the color or something like that. So that oily sheen layer just completely slid off of my eyelid. So the second time and third time that I used it, the longevity was surprisingly much better. So do keep that in mind. Don't be fooled by the first impressions. That's why sometimes I think first impressions are not really indicative of the product. Just like with mascara, I don't like it the first time I use it. I like it once it's a little bit dried out, but that's besides the point. In terms of longevity, I would say it looks really fresh within 4 hours. Starting around 4 to 6 or past 4 hours, it kind of starts to fade a little bit, and it does fade decently evenly that I notice on the cheeks. I don't wear this on my lips ever because I have extremely dry lips, and as you can see from the application, my lips are pretty dry with this product as well. It kind of emphasizes my lines. I'll kind of show you up close right now, but you could see it kind of emphasizes my lines on my lips, so I don't really wear any lip products in general anyway, so it's not the fault of the product. I just think I have really dry lips. But anyway, from far away in pictures, it looks pretty. However, it is considered a matte formula, but I think without powdering, it still looks a little bit with a very slight dewy sheen, but not in an oily sense. It just looks like a healthy glow, which I personally really like. It does dry down more matte, but without powder it won't look fully matte as it can. So in terms of application, again, you can see it later in the video, I would say on its own it's not going to last that well, especially if you're riding a scooter with heavy wind coming towards you and you might have oily skin and the humidity, it just breaks down. So obviously I use it with a powder, and you will see that once again in the application videos. I used it with a sort of loose translucent finely milled powder or a compact powder. Both work equally about the same in my opinion. They don't really work that differently when I set them with the compact or the pressed versus the loose powder. I don't really notice a difference, but I explain more in the application. But how I like to apply is the cream and then a layer of powder, and if the powder tends to wash out the color a tad, a smidge, so I will add another layer of the 3CE multi-pot and then another layer of powder. So I noticed that with the cream powder layers, it lasts significantly longer on the cheeks. However, on the eyes, I don't like to layer it too heavily. I notice that when I layer too much on my eyelids, it creases significantly more. So do keep that in mind. I noticed that with my eyelids, the color tends to look pretty vibrant, as you could see, maybe because my eyelids are a little bit dark, so it like emphasizes the apricot color. But once again, on my cheeks, it kind of tends to wash out once I throw on the powder, but I do layer it on, and it is buildable on top of powder if you don't have any flaky skin. So just make sure you exfoliate if you do plan on doing the technique I mentioned. So overall, would I recommend this product? Yes, I think it is quite a handy product, but I will also be reviewing the Apu eye mousse in a later review. And in terms of longevity as a cream eyeshadow, I think the Apu ones look and last a smidge better actually. But in terms of cheek products, I really love this color. I think it is so beautiful. So in terms of the color, I will say it will look best on obviously lighter skin tones. Right now it's the dead of winter, so I am at my lightest shade currently. But I would say even in summer, I was about a medium skin tone. It looked fine. It kind of looked very healthy and a small hint of natural color. But if you're darker than medium skin tone, I don't think Diotima would be an ideal choice. Maybe as an eyeshadow base, it would be good. But in terms of a cheek color, I don't think it would really look well. Maybe as a lip color, if you don't mind trying lighter lip colors on darker skin tones, I think it will look really pretty as well. But for cheeks, unfortunately, I think that's out the door. They do have a lot of other shades that are much brighter, reds, pinks, almost like a magenta tone as well. I just don't think pink or red tones look that good on me personally. So again, I went for the peachy beige that I always go for. So without further ado, let's move on to the swatches. So in terms of packaging, it is really pretty. I hope you could see it. It has this beautiful model in front. I actually don't know her name, but she seems to be in most of the 3CE products. And the packaging is gorgeous. You can see right here, it's like a very pretty gold and it has a little clasp, which is a little difficult if you don't have any nails. And then this is the shade #Diotima. So you get, it doesn't say how much product you get in here, unfortunately. I'm sure you can find it on the STYLENANDA.com website, which they actually print on the back. So you just have to kind of pry it open. Be careful of your nails. And it has a little mirror right here for you to use. And the mirror is actually quite decently sized. You can just take it and go, which I think is really handy. And then this is the product itself. So as you can see, as I mentioned in the review, the center is where obviously I press my fingers, but on the outer rim, it's still like the fresh first layer, so it has that sheen. So when you first apply it the very first time, that sheen affected the performance, so do ignore that. You could technically wipe it off, I guess, but what a waste of product. So just powder more heavily. So now I'm going to show you these swatches on the back of my hand. And as you can see, I'm going to just very lightly swipe, hardly just touching it, just grazing my finger across. Please ignore my nails. And there you go. So that's it, just with that light pressure. I'm going to do it one more time. Just very light pressure, and that's all I used. And so I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to blend this out this time. So that's it, just swiped on. And I'm going to gently just tap this as you would on your cheek or eyelids, and it kind of blends out into that soft color. So here you go. Hopefully you can see that. On my camera's viewfinder it looks fine, but on my laptop it looks a little washed out. So I'm going to turn down the color a little, my lights a little bit, so hopefully you can see the color. Alright, so I've turned down my lights a little bit, so hopefully you can see the color a little bit better. As you can see, again, it's described as a soft warm beige with a drop of juicy apricot, which I think is a very accurate description. You can see this is what it looks like. It's a little dewy, but it does kind of dry down more matte. Let me kind of blend out this side a little bit more. Just kind of tap. This is how I would apply on my cheek. Just tapping motions. So you can kind of see right there. That's what it looks like. And I'm going to powder right on top for you to see what it would look like powdered. So again, just taking a normal pressed translucent powder, as most people would travel with. And there you go. Kind of dyes down the color a smidge, but you can still see the color impact is still there. Makes it more matte if you like that look, and it will really lock it in place when you do this. Alright, so that's it for the swatches. So let's move straight on to the application. Okay, so I'm going to apply the Take a Layer in Diotima. Again, here's the shade for you. So how I'm going to apply this is again with my fingers. I think that's how most people will tend to apply. So again, I only have one shade, so I will be applying this over my eyelids, lips, and cheek for you to see the full effect. As a reminder, this is what it looks like. Very pretty. As they describe it, a sort of warm beige with apricot, which is quite accurate. So I'm going to apply it right now with just, I kind of put two of my fingers just like that, my middle and ring finger, and I kind of smile like this. I just start pouncing on it. Now on camera it looks like it's picking up quite well. I hope it registers like that on my laptop as I'm editing, but in my camera's viewfinder it looks good. But as you can see, I just kind of go in little motions, trying to get out the edges as much as I can. Right now I have only foundation and concealer on. I have not powdered yet, and I'll show you what it looks like before you apply powder. Sometimes even after applying powder, I will kind of go back and put on more, because the powder, even though it's supposed to be translucent, I'll kind of wash out the color. So, but I just love this color. It looks really natural, I guess. As natural as possible, really. I'll kind of get up closer for you to see. So I just kind of very gently pat, and sometimes I'll do like the whole, I forget what it's called, but it's like in Japan, it kind of looks like you're a little bit drunk and tipsy, even though I don't drink. So I'll kind of put it across the nose for you to see. I do very lightly, just across the nose, and kind of connect it all. It's really cute if you like the whole freckles look. I think this color is perfect. So that's what it looks like on the cheek. In person, this is how much I would normally apply. So that is it on the cheeks. I'm gonna apply a little bit more so the color will show up better on camera. I would rather apply more on camera so you could see the actual color and you could tone it down. Right now I am fairly light. I can see this working for medium skin tones. Someone darker than medium skin tones might not pick up as well, but maybe as a cream eyeshadow, we'll see, or as a base will be very pretty. So if you can't use it on the cheeks, you can apply it for lips as well, but I'll show you that in a second. So now this is the cheeks, a little bit across the nose, as you can see. Whoops, too much there. I'm gonna smear that out. And then now I'm going to apply it on my eyelids. So right now I have nothing on my eyelids. As you can see, I don't even have a primer on. Ignore this eyelid. It's pretty red and almost purple looking. I have like eczema now on my right eyelid, so sometimes it'll kind of pop in and out. So please ignore that. So I'm going to look in the mirror here. And I just apply all over. It's a very easy product to use. I use a very light touch to get it, and then I just kind of very gently start doing the wiper motions. And I like to bring it underneath to connect to the outer side as well. Try to be as gentle as you can with this part because your eyelids are very, sensitive. So you can just apply it overall on just one eyelid like I have here, but sometimes I like to bring up the color a little bit higher. So this is nothing there, and there's something here. If you hear a cat, I don't know if you can see her right here, that's her. Please ignore my phone. Okay, I'm going to bring it up higher so you can see the color even better. So I'm going to bring it over my mobile lid. My cat wants me for some reason. I never know what she wants. I give her food and then she doesn't eat it. But anyway. So there you go. It kind of looks very apricot-y orange. So this is what it looks like on this side versus my normal eyelid. Will pop even more and last even longer if you use a primer, like I said in the beginning of the review. So let me apply on the other side, just so you can see, maybe with slightly different lighting probably. So pretty. I just really like this color. I wish it would stay on significantly better compared to like normal eyeshadow. If only it would just be 100%, but cream eyeshadows on me just don't last as long as compared to say normal eyeshadow. But sometimes if I'm just going out to teach very quickly, it's kind of the perfect throw on product. And if you don't mind touching up while you're outside, even though that makes me cringe because it's a cream product, then you would be fine with this. Okay, so I have a little lip balm on right now, just a clear one. I'm going to wipe that off, and now I'm going to apply it on my lips. My lips, as you can see, are pretty red. They're typically this color, quite pigmented. So I'm not going to apply powder over it because my lips are already extremely dry. So if I apply powder like some people do, or foundation, my lips just look terrible. So this is really nice. Cat. This is really nice in that you can have like a all-in-one kind of to-go product. That's why I bought it myself. You kind of see it's kind of covering, it is covering my lips decently well. Ignore how chapped my lips are. I don't think people have lips as dry as mine. Mine are just so dry, so I don't normally apply this on my lips, but I want to show you the whole look together. So here are some close-ups. Now I'm going to apply what should be a translucent powder. I'm using the Innisfree No Sebum Moisture Powder. It's the blue, kind of like a minty blue or a light blue one. The mint one was the one just for oil control. I just lotioned my hands and now I'm struggling to open this. So I'm just going to apply it. So hopefully you can see the powder a little bit without me spilling it. There's a slight tinge to it, but it's a very finely milled powder. I'm just going to take a normal powder brush and go over my eyelids and cheeks. So what I do is to lock it in place all day, I just powder it. I'm going to apply it to one side first so you can see the difference. It just kind of mattifies the whole look even more. And you can now already see the color kind of looks more tamed versus this side. And I personally prefer in person to look more like this side. It kind of blends out the edges really well too. So I'm going to show you really quick powdered side and then not powdered side. So with the unpowdered side, you could kind of see it's much more dewy almost. But this side, you still get a little bit of shine. But it just holds it in place. I personally have oily eyelids, and without powdering it will crease within 1 hour for me, so I still like to powder. So I'll powder the other side so you can see the final effect, and I'm only using a bit. I'm not using a whole lot of powder. I'm just gonna powder my cheeks and eyes so you could see, since I'm going to move on to my next review soon. But there you go. So you could see it's much more tame, just like this. Okay, and this is what it looks like from afar. So to some, they might think the color kind of goes away. I would say the color fades a little bit. So I do think you can actually touch up a little bit with this product. So I'm going to show you right on top of powdered skin what it looks like. So I don't smear it in this case. I only pat. And I think it looks totally fine touched up on top of powder if you don't have dry patches. So if you have any dry patches, it might emphasize that, but currently my skin surprisingly at this moment is not too flaky, even though I have dry skin. So as you can see, it kind of just brings back the color a little bit more, and I'll powder on top again. I think doing the cream product, powder, and then cream product, and then another layer of powder, just hold it in place all day is usually what I do. I think one layer sometimes tends to fade a little bit faster. I like the process of layering this product if, again, I don't have any dry patchiness. I do find that, however, if I layer too much on my eyelids, it just doesn't work too well. You might have heard this in the review. I'm filming this before the review, so I'll touch up the eyelids for you to see. And normally I do not touch up the eyelids since too much product can smear the product, in my opinion. Or not smear, but it kind of builds up in my crease. So I personally don't like that too much. I try to keep it as thin as possible on my eyelids. And you can see here, I'm just looking down at my mirror in case you're wondering. And there you go. I'm not going to apply it to my lips, obviously. Just wipe off a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, this is what it looks like, again, on top of powdered skin this time. And you can see the color is once again very vibrant, much more noticeable. Okay, and then lastly, as I promised, I'm going to show you this time, instead of with the translucent powder, I think most people will probably bring like a compact translucent powder. This is the Innisfree, also no sebum mineral packed. It's just totally white. This one does, I feel, lighten the color even more, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. Just kind of tame down the color. And this is, as you can see, the powdered side versus, once again, the cream powder cream layer. And now this is the cream powder side. So it kind of mattifies it even more. I actually kind of like that look, but again, I'm doing it for longevity. And I'm going to powder this side for you to see. I hope it's picking up well on camera. And there you go. This is with 2 layers of cream and 2 layers of powder, which is what I normally do. Alright, so that's it for my review and swatches of the 3CE Take a Layer in the shade Diotima. I hope you all enjoyed that, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. And if you liked the video, please leave a like, and I'll see you all later. Bye!